Welcome to the Wicked Radio Network.
And welcome to a crash and burn episode of the Wicked Theory Podcast.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. If you're a regular listener, you didn't hear any intro music from Brother Bob, because Brother Bob's not here.
Bob is dead.
Bob is Dunsky's. And
no, he's not dead.
No, he's not dead. He's not Dunsky's. We just, I got a big thing coming up. You might have heard me mention it.
If you listen to episode 23.
Right. I'm going away for the rest of my life. I've been convicted. No. I'm going to be a part of a 24-hour podcast with the guys from 7 Days of Geek. So
Bill's shipping up to Michigan.
I'm going to go on to Michigan. I won't be around to do our normal Saturday recording. So
I love how you did like a southern accent, like as you said, going on to Michigan.
Going on to Michigan.
Like they have southern accents.
It's so not got any accent really.
No,
not much. I don't think. I'll find out though.
I think they do, but it's more of like a
Chicago.
Yeah.
Something
I think it's more
Chicago.
like that. Yeah.
Probably.
But fuck Chicago.
Why? Oh, right, because that's a Mets sports thing?
Yeah, it's a sports reference.
I want to say real quick, good luck to your Mets tonight. Today's Tuesday.
8:07 p.m.
So we gotta move this along. We gotta get you out of here.
It is currently 6:48.
That clock is ticking.
The game starts.
All right, so that's what we're doing. We're gonna crash and burn. We're gonna hit some topics because it's early in the week. And then this will go up for next Monday.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully stuff is still relevant.
I hope so.
It'll be nice. So before we get too crazy into all the nonsense, we got one email that we're going to bother to read because we're trying to keep,
one?
Well, it's the only one we're going to bother with because we're trying to keep this short, number one.
Okay.
And then number two, it's a pretty important one, man. Now, you may have forgotten. I doubt that you did, Dominic, but you may have forgotten that we were trying to give away $50.
We were. That's right. I forgot about that. That was a long time ago.
So long ago. But somebody did it, man. Somebody went through the first 10 episodes and found all of the secret numbers.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. It is amazing. And I am going to read you this amazing email real quick.
Do it. Do it.
Stephanie Muniz, who, it turns out, is co-host of
Gotham. Lights.
But I'll keep this up. She's only up to episode 11, so she may not hear this for like months. You know, I'll make sure she knows. But I mean, like, you know,
you could just tell her. You know, you don't really have to listen to every episode.
I do talk to her and some other people all the time in the writers' room. That's true.
She involved? Like, quick question. Is she involved in the Michigan thing? Yeah. She's involved in. She's in the writers' room. She's not going to be on air though, right?
No. I mean, she might actually. No, she might end up.
She's going to show up.
She might end up being on air, Skyped in for a spot that's going to be a live read of a superhero script.
Whoa.
Yeah, the
Who
guy Jay wrote a little thing called Sidekicked.
That's cool.
Yeah, it actually is pretty cool. So she's in the writer's room, and she's turned to a pal, and then I think Agent Palmer might have tipped her off a little bit. I might have helped a little bit, but only because she already knew about it, and then sent her the link for more information about what to do.
The Amazon gift card.
About the Amazon $50.
All right.
So if anybody is confused, in the first 10 episodes, I stashed a number somewhere near the end of most episodes, and then on episode 11, I said, hey, if anybody wants $50, go listen to the 10, write the numbers down, and then tweet about it, and then send us an email with the numbers. So here's her email. I finished listening to episode 10 earlier. Well, and why does she have well in her? See, that just threw me off. I finished listening to episode 10 earlier, and 11, as my tweet will show. I think I managed to catch all the numbers, even with the quiet sound for the first 5 episodes. Congrats on fixing that, by the way. All right, let's see if I got those numbers right. And she did. She got 1, 13, 4, 9, 21, 12, 5, 57, 531, and 76. Those were the original numbers. She even sent, she's good. She followed all the rules. She actually sent me the link to the Twitter tweet in question. And keep up the good work. Really enjoying the podcast. Stephanie. Well,
Thank you, Stephanie.
Stephanie, I didn't think anybody was going to do it, to be honest with you. Or it would be a thing where, like, 6 years from now, I would get a random email of somebody saying, you owe me $50, here's some numbers, and I wouldn't remember what the hell he was talking about. But thanks very much, Steph, and I'll send you out a little contact thing, and I'll get you that code for Amazon, And it would be really cool, like if you did happen to buy anything that was cool, you just let us know maybe what you bought. Like if you end up buying some
comics or some shit,
some comics or some Gotham bed set, some sheets, some Batman sheets and pillowcases or something, we'd be more than happy to hear about that.
We would.
And
actually, no matter what it is, tell us what you bought with it.
Tell us what you bought with it, no matter what it is, even if it's personal and dirty or something you wouldn't share with mom and dad. And don't feel shy. You can write us emails about anything. We love the emails here. So speaking of emails here, I'm going to leave the rest of these alone because we're on a schedule.
We got some shit to cover.
We got some shit to cover, and we're going to get into that shit. I think like right now.
Right now.
Like right now. Not now.
Okay.
But like in a split moment. This Star Wars trailer came out.
Oh my god!
Freaking amazing as usual.
Amazing is right.
You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. Like I expected some stuff that wasn't in there, but I think they might be holding back for one more trailer. Like we still didn't see Old Man Luke.
No, well, that's something I actually wanted to talk about a little bit. That was actually. I'm sorry, my throat's a little.
You're a little congested.
Yeah, my throat's a little sore.
Well,
so
let's warn them now because I'm feeling the same way too.
All
so
right.
I'll try and clean it up later, but I don't know.
We'll see.
So So Luke, a lack of Luke. Does you want to start there, or you got something else?
Yeah, we could definitely start there. I mean, I don't really know. I really don't have a theory currently about like where he might be.
Right.
But like, I think that there's a reason why he's not. Like he's been missing from all three trailers, really.
Right.
Like I don't know, was he in either of the first two at all?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
But there's a voiceover where it is him, but it's him from the other
first
movies.
trailer.
From the earlier movies.
Was it?
I think that's what they're saying. I think that's what I was told.
I think it was him, but I think it's like current. I don't think it was.
I was under the impression that it was him when he was younger. It was a line from one of the movies because he's talking about his dad.
Oh, okay.
He's like, I'm not like my father or something like that. But it doesn't that what every kid says. I'm not like my parents. But he's really different from his parents.
No, definitely.
But he's more like his mom.
His mom was cute and nice.
She was a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Poor girl.
So anyways, I've seen a few theories online that were percolating last night about where Luke might be and
where he at
and whether or not he might have in the time between Return of the Jedi and now The Force Awakens he might have been kind of transformed as his father was into
maybe he's a little bit more of a
Sith Lord.
Maybe he's a bad guy.
Some people were thinking about that.
Right,
I know that we were just watching before we started a few breakdowns of the trailer last night, and Nerdist actually said that, which I didn't know, that they were through this next trilogy they're really trying to maintain that Skywalker Jedi bloodline kind of
right. That the lineage will always kind of be at the core of
right.
The
so
movies.
Obviously, with that, one of the main characters that you've been seeing, whether it's Rey, Finn, Dameron,
right.
Well,
Dameron, because what I was going to say to
we know Dameron's parents because of the comic.
Well, we also, the thing is that Dameron was the only one that we got like a last name on.
Right.
Like the only
that is his last name, right?
Well, it's Dameron Poe.
Okay.
So he's the only one that had two names revealed when they revealed all the names.
Right.
Otherwise, it's Kylo, it's Finn.
No, well, it's Kylo Ren.
It's Kylo Ren, but I think even they might have hinted that that's not like his true name.
Oh, okay.
In order to join this Sith clan, this Sith Order, the New Order, or First Order?
First Order.
In order to join them, he might have changed his name, or that might have been just a theory.
Right,
I'm not sure, but I kind of thought it was official.
Okay.
That
well, I know Nerdist just said in that overview video that they were thinking maybe that he could have been like an estranged son of Luke or Leia.
Right.
That kind of had some daddy or mommy issues too. Was trying to get some revenge.
Right.
So that's possible.
And then he would be trying to avenge his grandfather, basically.
Right. Well, what you kind of see in the
trailer, he is definitely avenging Darth Vader to some degree, or he's using him as a icon for, we're going to do this in your honor kind of thing. We're going to continue on your legacy of hate and evil. I personally didn't notice it, or I don't think it was in there, but a lot of people were saying last night that in that like melted Vader helmet, there was like a skull inside. Like that his actual skull was still like inside the helmet, which I couldn't tell. I couldn't really see it. I couldn't see it, but I think what maybe people are thinking of is that in the end of that movie, he's like burned in Ewok Village in his full costume.
Yeah.
So technically speaking, if there'd probably be some kind of bones in there, unless because it looks all melty and shit.
Right.
So it'd probably be a challenge to get it out. So I guess that's like a logical deduction kind of thing, maybe. But that's creepy but cool, I guess. In a way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know why it matters that much, but
yeah, I think it's just people speculating and then people spreading it around like, oh, here's a cool thing to think about.
yeah,
But so outside of him, people are still kind of stuck on. What's Finn's place? Is he really related to somebody? Is he a whole new character of his own? Which is kind of like where I'm leaning and kind of hoping they go.
Me too.
But
I mean, I don't think it would be necessarily a bad thing if he actually turns out to be someone's son and does have the Force and becomes a Jedi, because I don't know if you noticed it, but actually I think I pointed out to you in the last night's trailer. Whoever was doing the voiceover, who was doing the voiceover? Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford's doing a part of it.
Han Solo's saying, like, in Han Solo's like little narration part of the trailer, he says something like, he just says Jedi, and like as he's saying Jedi,
they're showing
you see Finn like come across the screen. So some people were saying maybe that could have been like a little bit of an Easter egg or something like that.
Right.
Which I wouldn't be surprised if it was. But
well, because it feels a little bit on the nose that they would have that one, the way that shot is, where he spins around.
Yeah, it's just smooth,
And it's it's just smooth, and it seems too well placed. And knowing J.J. Abrams and how he likes to do that kind of stuff, like, it probably is the case. Because at the very least, he may not be Jedi full on by blood, like, maybe not his parents, but maybe it's in his bloodline enough that it's, he'll have. I
love Star Wars, dude. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not like I don't know. I don't really know like how the fucking Force like really works, apart from it being like passed down from your parents. Well,
that's the problem with those prequels that Lucas made, was that they over-explained everything. So instead of it being some magical or near magical kind of thing that we really don't know too much about, like in the first movies, all of a sudden I start talking about midichlorians, and it's basically like, it's like,
I remember that actually.
It's like talking about mutants and X-Men. It's like, how does that work? Oh, somebody will break it down. Someone will make science out of it, But point being that, at the very least, he ends up with a lightsaber in that.
Yeah. So and he looks like he's facing off against Kylo Ren.
And so at the very least, he's going to be fighting some Jedis or some Sith, and so who's to say he doesn't at least get some training at some point.
And obviously, like it's been controversial and shit with his character particularly, but like the other two trailers, you see him in a stormtrooper costume, but you don't really know if he's a stormtrooper or not.
Right.
So, like, when I was seeing those first two trailers, I thought that he was just, like, going undercover at first, maybe. That, like, he actually wasn't a stormtrooper because of how they laid that groundwork in the first set, like, the, 1,
There's
2,
enough
3.
hints in there where it seems like he's just tagging along with them.
Right, that he was just, like, undercover or some shit like that.
Well, because they show one shot where you can see all of the clones, all the troopers, I should say.
Well, yeah, you don't know if they're clones anymore.
That's what I'm going to kind of get to, is that, like, and one of them is really shorter than the others. So it seems like, that's him in that line of troopers.
Yes, I do remember that, actually.
So, but what I was going to say is what you just kind of hinted at with that is that, this is after those 30 years. So who knows if all those clones are available to this rising order. And maybe it is regular people. Maybe it is regular people in these suits now, and it's not all clones.
Right.
So, and because they give out such little information.
But now, like what I was getting to originally was that, like, I didn't know that, you didn't know that he was a stormtrooper or not. So to make the assumption, you know what I mean, was a little silly. But now this last trailer kind of spells it out for you that he's definitely a stormtrooper, because you see his TIE fighter,
Right, he actually crashes his TIE fighter, but even still, he could have stole the TIE fighter to escape something. Yeah. The thing with it goes back to JJ a little bit, where I feel like JJ's probably got a lot of control over how these promos are put out, because they want to do it so right at Disney with these, at least with the launch of this first one. They want to try and reclaim that audience that got, disgusted with the first three. That, JJ's way of trying to keep the conversation going is to give you things that look like they could go either way.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, even though we've gotten like amazing footage so far from these three trailers, and which all three show for the most part different shit, which I like.
Sure.
you don't really you still don't really know what the movie's about at all.
Well, that's it.
You
Like
know
even
what I
in
mean?
that Nerdist thing, she's the host and the writers of that are obviously speculating that he's definitely a stormtrooper, and I'm like, we just don't really know. I think enough of it's going on.
I didn't even think about him being able to steal the TIE fighter.
You know, who's to say? Because if he's on the run in some way, or he's gotten caught up in something, grab a stormtrooper suit, slap it on, try to slip out somewhere, and if you got that stormtrooper suit on, I guess you could slip on onto a TIE fighter. But he is running around with that leather jacket that I think is not of the. If I remember correctly, that's like a good guy jacket.
Some Top Gun, right?
Yeah, it's Top Gun. It's Tom Cruise's. He's got the sunglasses.
It's the goose jacket.
It's the goose. It's Mavericks. It's Mavericks.
Maverick.
Jacket. I always confuse. No, there's no reason to not be confused. It's a long time ago and crappy at that.
But
so
that's really about it for me with the Force Awakens.
It's about trying
trailer.
to figure out what else is in there. I mean, you could dissect every single little thing, but it's like, what do you?
I personally as much as, like I said earlier, as much as I love Star Wars, I don't really know everything about it like some people do. Yeah. So it's for me to sit here and really dissect the trailer, piece by piece. It would be difficult for me to do that.
Especially with a trailer like this, it's going to be 90% speculation.
Yeah, well, that's all it is. It's 100% speculation.
Basically,
really.
right. All you know is that there's people in it.
Yeah,
that's basically all you know for sure.
Yeah, like we said, you don't know what the movie's about yet.
You don't know what the movie's really thrusting.
And this is the last trailer, by the way, too.
This is definitely the last trailer before Christmas?
That's what they...
Oh, after this, it might be TV stuff, and then we might get glimpses in that kind of stuff.
Yes, no, supposedly this is the last...
theatrical trailer, right?
Real trailer, and there's going to be footage every once in a while because
clips.
There'll be appearances on late
talk shows
and shit. So there'll be some clips, but they won't be a legit trailer. I mean,
it's right around the corner.
It's right around the corner.
Yeah,
I mean, right. It's already October 20th. This month.
Yeah, so that gives them 2 months to really kind of milk that last trailer.
It's kind of crazy how I feel like it was just last year or 2 years ago when they were announcing the movie and everyone was like, "Holy shit!" Now the movie's coming out in
what's
more
funny
than 2
too
months.
is a movie as big as this is actually coming out
exactly
as fast
2 months,
as fast as it is. Whereas some of these other movies, I don't know why they take longer. Maybe it's because this movie probably doesn't have as much CG as
I think it has a lot.
It's got a lot. But what I'm trying to get at is that it doesn't have as much as obviously those first prequels did with Lucas. Those were soaking in.
Oh my god.
So
horrible.
This might have actually gotten
and the
done.
worst CGI also.
This might have gotten done faster because of that. Because it's it's not as time consuming.
I think this got done quicker. I don't think it's real. I mean, that could play into it, but I think the main reason is just because of what it is. You know what I mean? It's Star Wars, and they announced it early, so I think they just wanted to. Not that they rushed it out. I don't think they rushed it at all.
No, but also too, I think what you're getting on is a good point. Disney's approach to it might have been a lot different. The actual production time and scheduling might have been very different from the way Lucas broke it down.
I mean, I'm no film expert. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I've been saying that the past couple of years, where it's why are these fucking superhero movies taking so long?
Yeah.
Why did fucking Batman vs Superman get announced 2 years ago and it's not coming out for almost a year and a half?
Yeah, still.
Well, no, actually, it's half a year now.
But still, it's no. But you're right. But overall, it's really long.
Why is it taking that long? And it's I get that those they want to make it perfect and it's gotta sit in that incubation period.
I feel the same situation applies.
It's
the same situation applies with the Disney stuff too. So it's what's different behind the scenes,
Yeah. I think, like I said, it's just that it's Star Wars, and they wanted to make the movie, so they got it out. Yeah,
I think that's it. I think that's just I think Disney's just probably willing to throw a lot more money at it, maybe than Warner Brothers is.
That's actually a good aspect.
Disney,
also.
I mean, as big as these two companies are, Disney's probably got the bigger bank account,
absolutely,
and the bigger faith in the creatives, where it's just. Here's the whole wheelbarrow full of cash.
No, you're
go.
Right.
Whereas Warner Brothers might be log jamming everything, where it's approval process.
And it's fucking Force Awakens isn't even out yet, and they've already started filming Episode 8. You know what I mean? So
supposedly, they were already getting set pics slipping out.
That's cool, man. I mean, that's what we want.
No, they're staying on top of it.
I feel like we said earlier, fucking. They announce these projects, and it takes just 3-4 years for them to come out. That's just one thing that I've always hated. Like, I get it. Like, you want to hype people up.
Yeah,
but
well, that's the thing, too.
There's a line between hyping people up and then making people, like, not want to see it because they've just waited for it for so long.
What you may not be aware
what I mean?
of, too, is that things changed when the Internet came. Because the Internet was just, like, a place for everybody to start talking about stuff. So, like, you really didn't know back in the days or even, like, pre-internet.
Oh,
like,
no, I remember.
I mean?
Yeah,
well,
no.
I'm just saying, but, like, you would hear about, they're talking about making this movie, making that movie, and then, like, you would hear a tidbit back, and it'd be like, oh, okay, so they're, like, halfway filming that. So you wouldn't have this whole as quantified of a time frame inside your head.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Where you're, like, kind of, like, sitting and staring at it, or people are talking about it. Like, when I first really got onto the web and started geeking out on certain websites, it was like, Ain't It Cool News, would just post up any, and they still do, but I'm just saying, but, like, all of a sudden it was like, oh, this deal got made, that deal got made, and it's like, oh, man, these movies are going to be great, and then some fizzle out, some get made, some don't. But, like, for a long time, you didn't have a resource to get that info all the time. Like, newspapers wouldn't cover it most of the time unless it was something really big or crazy. Like the biggest thing for the longest time, I think, was like Michael Keaton got cast as Batman, and then all of a sudden that was like, people just couldn't stop talking about that because I was like, oh my God, that's going to be horrible.
Right.
And that turned out pretty good. So we're keeping it short here, folks, this week. So just so you know, don't expect a long one. Next
it might
topic.
be like a little bit of a relief for some of you guys.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think some of these people out there.
We started out and it was like, an hour 15. Now it's like almost 3 hours.
It's like, it's basically a 24-hour podcast we're doing.
Yeah.
Basically.
Sorry, people.
Sorry, but we will sleep through hours if we ever do one. 8-hour break.
True.
You want to talk about Gotham real quick? Now, I didn't see it.
Yeah, so Bill didn't see last night. So today's Tuesday. Gotham was on last night on Monday. I personally thought it was probably the best episode of the show.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not saying much. You know what I mean?
No, I hear
you. Really, not to give anything away, but, the Court of Owls shit is really starting to come to the surface.
Okay.
And there's a few scenes in there with Penguin and Gallivant that are just, like, really good. You know what I mean? Where it's, like, real intense and just really good acting that really, like, was kind of missing from the show for a little bit, I guess.
Sure.
But
I kind of feel that with the guy playing Gallivant. Like, he's a guy we've seen in movies and all that stuff. It's like, oh, okay, he's like, I guess between him and Michael Chiklis, they're kind of like this season's big actors coming in. Whereas like last season, it was basically Jada Pinkett. Like, you know what I mean? It was the big movie.
Well, actually, last night there really wasn't much of Gallivant too much. It was mostly Penguin, and they're trying to really focus on Chiklis's character and how, like,
he's aggressive and
and they show a few raids that he
little pressure
leads.
On Gordy,
Gordon and Penguin and shit.
Good.
You get introduced to Firefly. Is that the character?
Yeah.
Firefly. She was pretty cool, I guess. It's definitely like the way they leave off is that like she's going to be around, I think, for a little while.
Okay.
So,
well, it's better than just killing them off right away.
Yeah. I mean, that's really it for that episode. It was just good, and if you're watching it, I'm sure you're excited now because it's like the show is finally starting to. Well,
that's how I'm kind of feeling about it too. Second seasons, sometimes these shows they come back a little bit. If I had seen it, we would definitely be getting into it more, but. Yeah. You're being nice to me.
It's actually kind of good that you didn't see it because we probably would have been fucking talking about it for like 20 minutes.
It forces us to cut it down. See that, folks? We're saving you time this week.
Just you.
All right.
So that leaves us with a little show called The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead. Good Lord Almighty.
Wow, man.
Just wow. What a butcher fest. I don't know. If you haven't seen it, pause it now. Pause this now. Go watch it. I don't care what you're doing. Get fired at work. Watch it at work. It's just brutality. But like, oh my God, so overdue and out of like left field. Like as much as like you knew it was all kind of coming, like when it starts up, man, it's just like, oh shit.
Yeah, well, the episode starts off real slow.
Yeah, it does. And I think
like
they did that on purpose.
Yeah. Which I didn't mind because like, you get introduced to that new character, Denise, and she's cool. She was actually, like kind of like cute and like funny, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Despite her weirdness, like she's still amusing and entertaining and stuff. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, out of left field, that like you just see that dude come out of nowhere and just hack that woman up.
Just another reason not to smoke cigarettes, folks.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
You get kicked out of the house for smoking in the house, and then when you're outside, someone just runs up and shanks you from behind.
Hey, if I was that woman,
Yeah.
I'd be fucking pissed from the grave, man. The reason why she gets killed is because Carol tells her to stop smoking cigarettes,
right.
and then all of a sudden, at the very end of the episode, Carol's sitting on the stoop, lighting one up.
Yeah, you know? Like, what the fuck, Carol? Well, I think Carol got pushed to the point where she needed a smoke.
Oh, she needed more than a smoke.
She was fucking smoking people left and right, though. All right, so
she's fucking.
To dial it back a little bit, yeah. So Carol witnesses the first kill that is like this insane, super fast, quick kill out of nowhere before the commercial break, and that leaves you like, what the fuck? Oh, it's on, but like you don't realize how on it's about to get.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I obviously. I didn't watch it until yesterday, so I didn't watch it on Sunday when it was on. So, like, from you, my father, Twitter, and everything, I kind of got, like, a little, not really spoiled, but I kind of knew, like, that the wolves were coming and that it was going to be a bloodbath. It's like when that scene happened, I wasn't as, like, what the fuck, as, like, you know, most people probably were.
Sure,
but at the same time, like, it just goes to show how crazy that scene actually was, because it did kind of catch me off guard.
It still throws you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Still throws you. And then just the insane brutality of these wolves guys, you know, of the wolves characters. And I keep on thinking too, is like, did they just send like their craziest bunch out to just go into this town? Because these dudes, let's put it like this.
You know more about the wolves than I do. But
well, I feel
actually,
like the wolves.
Finish your thought first.
Well, I was gonna say just so you know, I feel like the wolves is probably like inside of this gap I have with the Walking Dead comics. Where
I forgot that actually.
I read a bunch early on that I borrowed from a friend, and then
now you're all caught up.
Well, you know, but there's still this chunk in the middle where I've never read them.
Right.
So and most of it has to do with the wolves. I kind of come in like a little bit at the end of the wolves, after the wolves, I think.
Right.
But my point being though that I don't remember what my point was then, but I'll make a new one. So my point being now that. Maybe this was it, but these guys are just absolutely insane. That
they were just savage, man.
And to prove it, that was my point. To prove it, at one point, you know, there's like now, like these guys, they all kind of running in. They don't have guns. They're not armed. They just have bladed weapons, and so they're just hacking and cutting people. And eventually, the people in the town get some guns. I'm jumping forward and all, but like,
I didn't mean it like that. I was just like,
no, yeah, no, I didn't think you were making a face at me.
No.
But so they finally get a hold of some guns, and so now there's gunshots going off all over, and there's just a couple of these dudes are just like, you know, they kill somebody, and they just start hacking them, and hacking them, and hacking and hacking and hacking,
crazy.
To the point where they're like in a tunnel vision state where it's like they're just going, and so people
it almost looks like they were like
on
drugs or like just in like a hypnotic state, man, where it was like, you know.
Like, why would you just...
There was just nothing left in them, and like all they would do was programmed to
like
fucking just hack
up,
people up.
Chop up and kill and kill and kill.
Which is probably, you know, I guess
it's probably where
in some
it's
type
coming
of
from.
way, yeah.
It's probably where it comes from, because, you know, even that one big dude at one point, he talks a little bit and says something pretty fucking bonkers crazy. I can't remember.
Which one? Because there was a few guys who said something.
Well, there's a big dude, black T-shirt, I think, longer hair.
The guy that's on the floor, right? That Morgan was tying up.
I think so.
Because Morgan was like being a bitch, obviously, as everyone knows who watched the episode. But we'll get to that later, because I do want to mention that. But he says something like, you know,
oh, you can't handle us or something.
No, because Morgan says like, you know, you don't have to live this way or something like that. He says, and he says back to him like, you know, this is the only way to live or something like, you know,
not that guy, not the guy that like he let go. Yeah, not that guy. There was another guy who had like longer hair, and I don't know.
Oh, the guy with the big like axe, right?
The guy with the big axe. He was like the biggest
when
dude there.
When Morgan approaches him, he's just hacking somebody up. Sledgehammering them.
Right.
That guy? Yeah, I don't remember what he said exactly.
I thought he said something to somebody. But I might be mixing it up with Talking Dead, because Talking Dead showed us.
I didn't watch it.
Talking Dead showed a scene with them behind the scenes.
Okay.
He was like in character talking to that camera.
Well, because there was the guy, because there was like 3 or 4 people from the Wolves that said something. You have the guy who Carl ran up on and shot.
Okay.
Then you got the white guy with the long hair that we were just talking about, who I think was the one who said to Morgan, you know, like, this is the only way to live or something like that. And then you had the black guy who Morgan and Father, whatever whatever the fuck his name is.
Ezekiel.
Gabriel, I think.
Gabriel. I was close. I had an
yeah, hey. You know, the guy that they were like zip tying.
Oh,
the black guy on the
yeah.
floor. He says something real quick.
Yeah.
And then you got the other guy closer to the end who ends up getting the gun from Morgan.
Right.
Which is a big deal.
Way to go, Morgan. You know.
Yeah. Which I was really angry at.
So,
because you know that
that's
the way they shot that scene, that guy and that gun's gonna come back to kill a major character.
This,
and it's not gonna be Morgan.
No,
you know
it'll
be like you want it to be Morgan because
it'll be a child or like somebody beloved. You know, something that'll give Morgan a real, a complex about it. So before we get into Morgan, let me jump back to Carol.
Okay.
Carol the ninja, Snake Eyes Carol, the commando.
Aiden, you mean, right?
Aiden. What am I missing from Aiden? Why am I missing?
Because when she kills that like younger like teenage kid,
right?
And she puts like his sweatshirt on and everything.
Oh yeah.
And she's like running around and like multiple people from like that like with the wolves. They're like, Aiden, where'd you get the gun?
Okay.
And she's just like, as they're running past, like she turns around, pop. Just kills like 4 people at once. It was great.
She turned into. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like they've established that in her, so to see her all of a sudden just snap into that mode of just to have it together in her head. Like, don't get me wrong. Like. It's probably the kind of thing like you would think of like to do, but like afterwards, like you know what I should have done? I could have saved people.
The shit in this episode from Carol was some of the best stuff.
Some of the best stuff,
the entire show so far.
Carol,
because that was like, just like completely badass.
Carol's
hero,
more dangerous and deadly than Rick. Like
I think so. Yeah,
I think that she might have more now, especially she might have more human kills.
Well, yeah, she killed that.
She killed. I don't know how many people she fought.
Last night, she killed 2 people from Alexandria.
She did.
Yeah.
Oh, but that was because they were dying, and she knew that they were going to turn.
Right.
So that's fair enough.
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. I mean, but you have some people, aka Morgan, that are inside that would
have never done that. Right. Well, let's let her turn into a zombie, then we'll kill the zombie.
Exactly.
It's like, well, But meanwhile, she's running around. She manages to sneak and get that guy's clothes, the guy Aiden, dress up like him, and run around and just use that to her advantage. The only thing I was thinking was that, oh my God, like if they do this thing where like now the good guys think that that's a bad guy.
Oh my God, yeah.
And that's what I was waiting for. Like one of them, like someone's going to shoot her, and that's going to be how we lose fucking Carol.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I didn't even think of that.
Because that's what I was thinking at one point. Because like, oh, she's going around, she's killing everybody, she's getting all these guys. I hope nobody fucking takes a shot at her because. That's what this show likes to do. Sometimes it's build your
well, there was a scene, though, I think, where it was like a quick fake out, where it was like somebody was coming up on her. Oh, actually, it was when Gabriel and Morgan had the black guy tied up on the ground, and, they're getting ready to just like, Morgan's getting ready to knock him out with the stick.
Oh, yeah,
and she just comes up and shoots him in the head.
Right.
And at that, like, when she comes up, she has the handkerchief over her face.
Right.
And like Morgan getting ready like attack
He takes a
her,
position.
and then she takes the mask off, and you can see that it's Carol. So
right, I did like that the one, like she opens up the closet, and then the lady inside the closet, like even though Carol pulls off the mask, the lady's still like not sure.
Right.
She's like for a split second, you get that woman thought, wait. Was Carol in on this, like kind of a thing for a second? Like,
really?
You know what I mean? Well, that's the way I took it, but maybe that's not really it. But like,
no, I mean, I can see it.
Maybe they just was just playing it straight for fear. But in my head, I took it as like, oh, she's still not sure because Carol, who's to say Carol's not an insider or something, No,
you're right.
And that lady doesn't know which way it's coming from because she's been hiding in the closet.
Yeah.
So Carol goes around, kills about 135 people. It seems like, all in stealth mode. She was running with the kid at Danny that comes into the job. He was like, yo, she was like Solid Snake. She was running around hiding in boxes and shit. And he put on camo makeup.
Yeah, that was awesome. It really was. She was awesome.
So some of the craziest stuff you'll see this season so far is well, we're only 2 episodes in.
Only 2 episodes in, and we're talking about how crazy the season is already. So
I can't even.
That goes to show something. But back to Morgan.
On to Morgie.
So what'd you think, man?
I don't know, man. Like we were talking about it last week about how like he's just this voice of reason for Rick, but it's getting to a point where it's getting tired. And I knew they were going to do that with him at the end, where they were going to paint him into a corner and make him kill somebody, but only because he had to. But like he would, and then we would establish a new threshold for him, like what's his limit type of thing, like And it's just that kind of character where it's like, he's got to be the sage. He's the wise, the wise ninja.
Right.
Who's
he's like the Jedi.
He's trying to school everybody that doesn't have to be that way. Don't slip into the darkness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But this isn't a regular world. This world, or at least this area of it, is going to constantly push you to those limits. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? And your big stick ain't going to be enough all the time because not for nothing, it's not going to stop any bullets.
No, absolutely.
You're
100%
and
right.
He's got and then for half the episode, he's running around with a gun on his hip anyway. I saw that
I
a couple
that.
angles.
Like,
he's got. I mean, it's on his backside. It's on his belt on his back.
Yeah.
But it's like, he's just got it. I guess in case it just gets too crazy. I guess.
You're getting ready for Michigan.
I'm getting ready for Michigan. Hold on, Michigan, I'm coming.
No, but back to the thing when he lets the guy go from the wolves, lets a bunch of them go first though.
Yeah. All of a sudden 5 of them run out behind the other guy.
Now, like, I don't know, I just don't understand, like how someone could let that happen. You know what I mean? Like, he's walking around Alexandria and he sees the damage they've done so far and how brutal the kills that they committed were.
Well,
and he just willingly lets them go. Like, I just don't get that.
You know what I'm thinking now that maybe we need to remember about Morgan is that, until Morgan came back, the last time we saw him, he was bug-fuck crazy.
Oh, he's still bug-fuck crazy.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say is that, the only reason he's got the rationale that he does is because maybe he's a little damaged in the head still.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't get no doctor certify him and tell him, you're okay now, you're healthy.
Right.
He obviously went to some Shaolin temple, learned some
and that's
some
another
bow
thing
staff.
that you don't know yet.
He says it this episode too. He did say it because Gabriel was like, "Oh, who'd you learn that from?" And I don't remember what he said, but he did say like he dropped a name or a place or something. Okay. So I'd have to go back and check it.
Now,
but it wasn't like no explanation.
Right.
It was just a mention.
Now this might be me just having a bad memory, but now that kid that when Morgan's like creeping around that house and that dude with the long hair with the beard, when he like comes around the corner and hits Morgan and like they kind of fight for a little bit and then Morgan actually kills him.
Right.
That kid was in an episode in last season, I believe. And you see, it's like probably middle of the season, maybe even beginning of season 4 when, wait, is it season 6?
This is
season, so it was season 5 last year when Morgan's like still kind of MIA a little bit and you see Morgan tied up like in like the forest and there's like these 2 savage looking dudes, but you don't know that they're wolves yet. And he ends up getting out of it like with the stick and he says something to them like about, killing people. And then if I remember from last night correctly, the kid says to Morgan, I think this would be a good time for you to start killing people again or something like that.
Yeah, because they end up recognizing each other, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
From that earlier
like
scene.
picks his, like they beat each other up for a little bit and then the kid like picks his head up and he makes eye contact with him.
Right.
And then he like you see like that moment of like, realization on his face,
Yeah.
So.
And I kind of really didn't think that out much, but no, that makes sense, man.
Yeah.
It's just going to be one of these things that Morgan's going to be the character where stuff is going to come back to haunt him now. He's going to be that guy this season where it's like bad decisions you made at the beginning, you're going to fucking pay for them at the end somehow, somewhere.
He really hasn't made too many bad decisions.
No, not him,
yet.
but I mean like that's usually what happens to like.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, you know what? You don't really know. You don't. I mean,
No, it's true.
You're really only following him as a series regular for 2 episodes so far. I mean, he's already made 2 bad decisions in 2 episodes, so he might have been making bad decisions the whole time he was gone.
Who knows, man? I mean, you're absolutely right.
So that's
he could have been leading the wolves to there, basically.
Now I have a question.
Yeah.
When I don't know the character's name. I want to say Gareth. Was Gareth the guy from Terminus?
Yeah, he was the
so it's not him.
Yeah,
right. So the kid, the younger guy, who I think he's gay. Like it might help you.
Is that the one
who he like recruits everybody for Alexandria?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now at the end of the episode, when he's sitting on the steps and he's looking through the pictures.
Mm-hmm. Me and him are actually really, really good friends on Twitter.
Really?
Yeah, I posted something once, and he replied to it. So that means me and him, we can go hang out now.
So this might help you answer the questions.
Marimund, I think his name is. But anyway, he's one of these guys that got really famous and popular doing a video of impressions.
Oh, okay.
And you've probably actually seen his thing. He's
definitely
Tony Soprano.
He's definitely recognizable.
All the ones I think I can do, but I can't. You know what I mean?
So anyways,
yes.
He's looking through
Oh,
he
at the very end, yes.
He takes his backpack, I think, off the back of one of the wolves that Carol killed.
Right.
And he's looking through pictures. Now, were those pictures that the wolves themselves took, like when they were scoping out Alexandria?
That got clarified for me, too.
Or were those his photos?
So that got clarified for me on Talking Dead.
Okay.
Those are his photos.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Because I know when he was like going out, like I guess soliciting Alexandria to Rick and all of them, he had a bunch of pictures with him that he was showing, like, oh, this is what we got here, you know?
Right, exactly. So that's what those pictures were.
Okay.
Obviously, they probably cherry-picked the pictures that they cared about, the wolves, and so it was just all about the fortification of the location.
Right.
You know, so, all you see real quick is just the old, it's from outside the area, so it's all the walls they put up and stuff like that. But it was funny, too, because I didn't place it right away, why he was all, oh, my God, about it.
Yeah.
I mean, so I was thinking it was just, they've been planning this. But then on the Talking Dead, they mention it. And
no, because I remember that he had that backpack and he had some pictures in there in like season 4 or 5 when he was like coming around to.
I kind of forgot about that. I mean, for some reason, I knew that the backpack was his, but I didn't make the connection with the pictures for whatever reason. But yeah, those were his picks. So it's another guy who kind of like is now going to feel like, this is all my fault.
Next episode, you're going to see him fucking
and be all fucking distraught about it and feeling guilty and shit.
Yeah, because for the first time, I think like he really got blood on his hands. Like he was really like killing people. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't think he was one of those guys that was into that shit before.
I don't think he was into it, but I think that the reason that he was going out though was because they had, he had it in him. Enough, survival instinct enough. Maybe he wasn't a real cold-blooded killer, but, he killed to survive. You know what I mean? And I think Rick even asked him during that whole thing, like, the old 3 questions. Remember, it was like, how many people did you kill? How many girlfriends have you had? How many sexual partners?
That was whose questions? Rick's?
Well, one of them was. But, remember, like, every now and then they would bring somebody new in the last season, and they'd be like, we want to know 3 things, and one of them was, how many humans have you killed? Right. And if you hadn't killed any humans yet, they didn't trust you. Right. Was basically what it came down to. Because either you were lying, or you were just suspicious or soft. You know what I mean?
Speaking of not killing humans.
Yeah?
Gabe is finally starting to come around a little bit. I think he didn't kill anybody in this episode, but I know earlier on in the episode.
Here's a lesson for Morgan: if the priest is ready to start killing people with his collar on,
right?
Like,
why doesn't he take the collar off?
Well, I think that's gonna happen. I mean, that's gotta happen. I mean, he took it off twice already.
That would be great. Like his first kill, like he just takes it off
and like jabs it in a zombie's eye or something like that. That'd be great.
Because they're pretty hard. Those things.
Yeah, they are. They're really
like a hard
firm.
plastic.
Yeah, it's a hard, firm, plastic. I think.
So, another question I have for you.
For me?
No, I don't really know the character's name, but the younger girl that Carl's got a crush on.
Right.
She ends up leaving at the end of the episode. Now, she's very...
She walked away at the end of the episode?
Yeah, she's gone. Like, Carl comes back inside from, like, doing something.
Oh, that's right.
And there's, like, a note. There's, like, a note slipped from underneath the door.
Yes.
And, I was just wondering, maybe because there's been a lot of speculation that she was in cahoots with the wolves to begin with, that maybe she actually is. You know what I mean? So, like, when they all left, she kind of left also.
Well, that's kind of like what I was thinking, too. I was like, they kind of played it both ways. Like, so I was thinking during that open sequence where you see her, she loses her parents, and she's on her own, that eventually she was going to hook up with the wolves. Yeah. So I'm thinking they just left a piece out.
But there's just, like... As much as they're kind of leading you on to think that, I think it's kind of like a little bit of a double fake out because it's like, you have a young, cute looking girl who's,
weird,
early teens.
Right.
You would think that like a group of pure savages like that
she
wouldn't adopt her and like leave her spotless. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to get too graphic in it, but I think they would treat her a little bit differently.
Yeah, she wouldn't have made it out of there looking.
So either that's either that's a hole in the TV show where it's
What I'm thinking is that what could easily have happened is that if their leader on the other side was hipping with it enough, could have kept these dirty paws off her to keep her. Like, hey, like I'm keeping you safe. You got to do me a favor. You got to do,
Now, is there like a clear-cut leader of the wolves, like from the comics?
I think
I know you don't know much about it.
I think that there is, but I will say that I think the wolves storyline gives way to Negan.
Right now, I know that. Well, I know that they've like hinted that he's going to somehow pop in.
Yeah, not that he's connected or with them in any way. He's like from a whole different town and area, but
it just leads to him.
I think the storyline, and like that's the next storyline at the very least, how it maybe transitions in or it doesn't. I think he is the next big storyline. But my point back to the girl is that like I felt like, oh, okay, so in the beginning I was like, oh, okay, so all right, she's not a wolf. They were just kind of double playing us, and that's why they gave us this opening so that they could wash out all that suspicion. But then she starts to do fucking suspicious shit during the melee. Mainly that she's sitting behind Carl and she's talking about how, and the phrasing that she's using is obviously meant to leave you wondering.
Well, yeah, I thought
Carl
that she
cuts
was
her
like,
off, but she's saying how this place wasn't fortified, and had blind spots,
right?
And then that's what made it so easy that we were able to. And then Carl cuts her off.
Oh shit! I didn't even realize that she said that. But
she said something about we.
Oh wow!
And it wasn't about to me. I mean, depending on how the sentence was supposed to be finished, I mean, maybe she could have brought it back to Alexandria, but it felt like to me she was about to confess to Carl that she was in on it. Like she helped. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I hope in terms of the storyline for the show, I really hope she is. I think it would make it pretty interesting.
I think it would be a great spin, like a little twist later on. Like, let's say those wolves come back and they're like, "Hey, Clara," or whatever name they know her as. You know what I mean? You were supposed to come back. We thought you disappeared or whatever. And if she has disappeared, maybe next time they run into the wolves, that's when they'll see Carl's little girl. Yeah.
No, but I think she was definitely suspicious, like we said. And I think that, fuck, I don't even know what I was going to say.
I don't know what you were going to say. But she's definitely, they're painting her to still be suspicious, I think, to people who are actually watching her, like viewers.
Oh, what I was going to say was that, like, she came off suspicious to me because, oof.
Voice is changing.
Yeah, it's just cold. It's really fucking kicking my ass. But, she was suspicious to me because she seemed like a little bit too cocky, like when her and Carl were in the house, that like, don't worry. Like, no one's going to get us in here. You know what I mean? Like,
that's another thing. Sure. Right.
That's why she was suspicious to me, because she was like, no one's going to get us in here. Don't worry about it.
And then I think the kid Danny, because I was talking to that kid Danny at work, and he was like, yeah. And then she comes in and she's got all the keys, and Carl's like, what are you doing with the keys? And she's like, oh, I just got all the keys. Like, I figured.
Yeah, she just seemed like way too cool about the whole thing.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like, I get that she's supposed to be like a desensitized kind of character where she's seen a lot. She's still kind of numb from everything. Yeah, but she's just too blasé. She's just too like, at the very least, I don't have to worry.
No, absolutely.
And then
and I think that they did that little one shot with her in the beginning of the episode to either make you think that she's involved in it, or to tell you pretty much that she was the mole on the inside.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of do this hard cut where it goes from her. Maybe that's what the hesitation was outside, because when you see her get to Alexandria, she sees that there's people, she can hear them on the side having fun. And like, is her hesitation because it's like, I'm not ready to be with people? Or is it because she hears like good things happening and she knows what's going in there is going to bring to them?
No, that's a great point.
You know what I mean? Really, I just thought of it right now, but I mean, like, what if that's why she turns around like, and she's like ready to walk away from it and thinking about it, and then she goes back. What if she was like, wow, like that sounds like, kids playing and a happy picnic, and if I come in here inside of months, these people are all going to be fucking dead because of me.
No, that's a good point. Like, they don't really show you, like, as much as you're following her for like 5 or 10 minutes.
Like, there's a jump.
There's like, you could tell there's a jump of time, because when she's in the car, pretty much watching her parents get eaten alive by walkers. She, like, there's like, you could tell there's a decent time jump from when she's walking like on that gravel road and she sees the turtle and starts eating a
I was just going to say, can we talk about the turtle? Like, I mean, I don't know, man. I've never been that hungry in my life. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not saying I couldn't eat a turtle. Right. But I'm saying I think I got to cook it. Yeah. And if I got no way to cook it, then I guess I'm eating it raw because I'm starving. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just too acclimated to modern life.
Dude,
I can't think.
It kind of caught me off guard too. I was like, isn't she like gonna throw up or anything?
Well, that's what I kind of thought.
It wasn't even like that, like the uncooked meat that was kind of like bugging me out. It was more the fact that she was just eating like 90% blood. It was like,
it was like
this like
so
skeeve
bloody.
you out?
She was like sucking on the bones basically too. It's like
Oh, and here's another thing. What's that JSS thing?
So that was just survive somehow.
Okay.
So that was a thing that her parents had told her. That she says later on in the episode. That's only like if you're really paying attention, you kind of put it together. That's what the JSS stood for.
Okay.
So that becomes like this little mantra that she starts using in her head, like, you know what I mean? And then she starts writing it on the thing. So I at first thought it was like her initials, and she was just kind of marking off,
right?
Like, marking
her territory,
marking off little areas or whatever, and just. But no, it turns out that she says it later on in the episode. Just survive somehow. So on the Talking Dead, I think maybe a scene got cut out, maybe where the parents said it to her, but the actress, because she was on Talking Dead,
she was on. I saw that.
So she says, that this is a thing that her parents had said to her a couple times, like growing up. Oh, that's the way she places it in her head. Actually, was that this was like a thing, like a parents would be like, just suck it up, or just tough it out, kid. Just survive it somehow. You'll get through the day. It's just a math test. And these kinds of things. Who's going to teach math now?
Yeah, I mean...
Nobody.
Really.
Nobody. Well, we only got 2 kids. Yeah, screw it. We don't got to teach them nothing.
It's true.
So, outside of that, I really don't recall the tease for next week.
Yeah, I don't think... I think my DVR actually cut off...
No, actually, I do kind of
remember. The preview
remember
for next week. And I know on Walking Dead, they do like a legit preview.
Yeah, they do like a scene.
You would know better than me.
Actually, I don't recall the scene that they showed, but last week's scene was the one where she writes the JSS on the window. So when that happened, I was like, wait, did I see this? Like, what the, like, huh? Like, I didn't even recall why I knew, why I got some deja vu going on. I was like, oh, I'm getting psychic powers now. This is not cool. But outside of that,
that's about it for me, man. With Walking Dead, I mean,
with Walking Dead, that's all that's all I really got off the top of my head. I mean, that's the big stuff. But here's the other thing. I did see some of the preview, because here's the other thing. So this episode catches us up timeline wise with where the first episode ended. Right. And it puts it a little bit past it. So we figure out what happened with the horn. Congratulations on basically calling the whole episode, by the way, except for the thing with the horn. But that's fine. It's good enough. And then the zombies still haven't landed yet. They're still on their way, which is now why we understand.
All right,
now,
I did see the preview for next week, and it's like a shit ton of zombies.
Ton of zombies, and even the gay dude, I forget his name. I think it's Andrew, or I want to say Andy.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll just call
I think it is. I think you're right.
We'll just call him Andrew, even if it's not.
Okay.
He looks like an Andrew.
He does.
So actually, I think that might be his real name, and that's why I'm saying that.
His real name.
His real name might be Andrew Mormond or something like that. But anyway, he is going like bug shit crazy, fucking covered in blood and killing people.
Really?
Zombies anyway. But now we know why these previews for the season just show everybody running down the highway. Like that scene where Rick is just running. And it's just running, and he's on the shoulder of the highway, and he's just going. Because he's just trying to get to Alexandria before all the zombies kick in the door. I think they're trying to outpace them. Like, you know what I mean?
Hey, man, and now there's, obviously the amount of zombies that are going there now, they haven't had to face yet.
Yeah.
But now that, half the wall is down pretty much.
So
there's like a section of the wall that got like burnt. Got like burnt down. So there's like a big hole for them to just waltz right in.
There's a big hole for them to waltz in. And it's like,
and there were walkers, I think, that got in this episode too.
Yeah, because I do remember. Can't you hear them on the other side of the wall at one point near the end?
Yeah, and somebody killed
one or two, right? At the end, I think maybe Maggie.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
I want to say Maggie, maybe. But, they're all on the way. The trouble is not over. That town is coming down. That town is not lasting much longer.
I thought Morgan was on the road with Rick and Michonne and them. Why didn't he go out with them?
I don't know. It might have been because it was a matter of trying to leave a couple of people.
I mean, I could see why they would do that, but I just for some reason Morgan, thought that in the last episode.
But like, like I'm thinking, Morgan ain't the greatest guy to leave there if he's not going to pick up a rifle and even take out zombies necessarily.
I mean, they got some
They
have some good defense up there.
They left a couple of hitters that from the original crew.
Carol.
Maggie's there, Carol's there, Morgan. You got the two newer girls. I can never remember either one of them. The one that came along with Eugene and
the cute Spanish looking girl.
There's a cute Spanish looking girl. Mm-hmm. There's the other girl who's more of a little bit more plain.
Right, the one who kind of got fucked up at the end of last season. She was in the hospital bed.
And I'm glad. I'm so happy that there's a doctor there that doesn't know what she's doing. That just somebody dies on her table anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think outside of that, I think that's just the way the next week's setting up, man. It's just that it's going to be more chaos.
It's going to be great, man. This is going to be a great season. I know that they were saying, leading up to this season,
right.
All the people on the show, all the people that work on the show,
but
this was the best season.
But that stuff sounds
by far.
You hear that every year.
Yeah, you hear that every year from every show. It's not just from The Walking Dead. Mm-hmm. But I think that it's going to be true.
But I'll tell you one thing: The Walking Dead is the only show that when they do talk about the next season, it's never anything good. Like when you hear them describe it, it's always it's going to get bleaker and more miserable and more deadly and
No, the show is it really is a first of its kind, man. There's shows out there that are crazy bloody and shit, that do crazy shit. Game of Thrones, Bastard Execution, it does some crazy shit.
But they don't do things that are
there's just
all episode long.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like a fight or battle will happen or some conflict.
Yeah.
And then it's because they're so, worried about other things.
Yeah, there's so much going on. That's what I was getting to. The Walking Dead is revolved around that tragedy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Meanwhile, the other shows, it's just a piece of the puzzle.
Right. Well, that's the thing too.
The show is
certain shows are just so much more spread out too. Like this is a show where it's all the characters are one basic area.
Yeah.
They're all going through very tight knit kind of similar stuff, as opposed to some other like Walking Dead or something where The Walking Dead. I'm talking about The Walking Dead, as opposed to Game of Thrones or something like that, where it's it's a bigger thing and. Or even and then other shows are the opposite of that, where it's it's so small and tight. There's only 4 real characters, and they're just up their ass all the time. But I think that's gonna.
We promised our friends on the other end of the mic here that we'd keep it short, and we're approaching an hour.
I think so. We're at about 52 minutes, and I don't think I'm really gonna have to edit much out of this at all. Yeah. But that wraps us up. That's the end. That's the end.
That's the quickest episode
we're
going to
keep it short. We're keeping it under an hour. That's it. We're done.
We're done. All right.
We're just done. No big music send off. No little clips in the background like normal. It's just going to be flat, old school podcasting. It's just when it's done, it's done.
So we're done. But Billy's got a nice weekend ahead of him.
So, I do.
Make sure that either you follow what's going on up there in Michigan with this 24-hour podcast. I think it's going to be called Oktoberfest, right?
PODTOBERFEST. You can follow it, all the shenanigans with the hashtag or the hash symbol 7DAG24. Because that's 7 days
7DAG24.
For 7 days a geek, 24.
Awesome.
Thing.
So
follow it.
And if not,
Well, you know what? If not...
send us some emails about it.
Yeah.
Send them emails, too.
And if you did catch me on it, send us emails on it. But also, if you do kind of miss it, if you wait a little while, they're going to put those episodes up. They're going to chop all that 24 hours into episodes. So, hey, I'm not. You want to catch it live to hear if the whole thing goes off the rails. You know what I mean? That kind of a thing. But, hey, it's out there. You can catch it. So, folks, unless you got something else, Dom.
I'm all good.
You're all good? You can find Dom Torre on Twitter at Dom_Torre, Torre.
That's
you
correct.
can find me on there as well.
At Wicked Theory.
Still, I haven't changed it.
And
you can't find Brother Bob because he's not here this week. And then you come back here next week and listen to us. I might put this up a little early, I'm thinking maybe. I might set this up to go out Thursday or something. All right. So that'll be a surprise for the kids.
Hey, man, bring your laptop to the airport. Hook up to that airport Wi-Fi, and then while you're waiting,
I'm not doing that again.
No,
airport Wi-Fi is a scam. They just
who gives a fuck?
Well, they're hoping you set it up and then you forget about it, and then you start getting a bill every month. Yeah. I was gonna say something, but I can't remember what it was. So we're done.
Good night, everybody. Bye. Spoil your day.